Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Smart Poker YouTube channel and another episode of Sundazed and Confused. This is episode number 120, and I am by myself today. No Crispy. She sends her regards to everybody. And yeah, Stephens, I feel like I slept in. I've been running around all morning, running late. A bunch of stuff happened I wasn't expecting. So I'm glad to be here. I'm going to get this on the invite link in case anybody wants to join us and strike up a conversation, show your garden. I'm about to roll up some Ghost Train Haze here. Cheers, Anova, Jimtown, J5, Artman, Sevens, Seed Person, Old School. She lost a handcuff key. I'll try to get that link pinned. And good morning, Uncle Rick. I wanted to tell everybody, my wife and I are going to be on the Uncle Rick show on August 28th. That'll be a lot of fun. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you are. He does a lot of, they do a lot of interviews, and a lot of them are good. One of them, all of them are good, but one of them recently was Artman. Not too long ago was on Uncle Rick, amongst many others. How's it going, Artman and Chase?
Doing good, doing good.
What's happening? Art, I didn't think he's going to make it.
Actually, the step kid will be here after a while, so I got time to hang out. And when I hear my grandkids, 12-year-old grandkids stampede coming across the ceiling, I'll have to get off of here. I'll know when he gets here, though. I guarantee you.
You definitely will. Yeah. That's cool. So you're getting your mini split installed today.
Yes, unless it rains, and he won't be able to charge it. But it's only a 4% chance. He tried to back out too. Like, oh no, wait a minute.
I need this, huh? Yeah, it's tough to
man, I more than need it. It was 85 in here this morning in the dark. So
I can understand his trepidation when you do that shit 60 hours a week. You know, it's tough to get motivated to do it on the weekends. But then when it comes to family, man, you got to go out of your way. You know.
Yeah. Yep. You got it both ways, though. I understand both sides of the coin.
Yeah, man, you got to help your family. When shit hits the fan, that's all you can really count on usually.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Oh, that's going to be great, man. I saw the other day that there was a how-to video on how to install one yourself. It seemed fairly easy, but of course they're going to make it look easy, you know.
Oh, you can actually if you can do that kind of stuff. I can't really do everything that they want physically, but it seems like it's pretty simple, honestly.
He said the only big thing that you have to remember is that the copper lines that you get for those are pre-charged. And he said if you hook the inside unit up first, it'll bleed out. You have to hook the outside unit up first and then come inside and hook them because of the way the valves are. He said other than that, it's pretty much foolproof. You have to knock out a circle in the back of once you mount it, you knock out a circle, you pull a pigtail through there, you connect it. The numbers, the wires are even, they're color coded and numbered
I saw that.
Yeah, in case you're colorblind, you can match 1, 2, 3, and that's how they have inside the breaker unit. Is 1, 2. I was looking at this thing. I think that's something I could do. You know?
Yeah. Well, mine are not pre-charged though, so he'll bleed it and then charge it. That's the one thing I'm getting for free is the coolant. That's why I'm not exactly patient, but I'm trying to hang in there. Because that stuff is expensive.
Oh yeah, they don't use Freon. They use like AR. What is it? I keep saying AR-50. It's
I don't know enough about it. I couldn't tell.
Isn't it like a R134A?
Yeah, that's it. R134A. That's it.
Hell if I know. Sounds good to me.
That's what it is. That's
They used to use R12, but that shit's bad for the environment, so they started using the R134.
Right. Well, that'll be cool.
Yeah, they're venting that shit to atmosphere and stuff, you know.
Fluorocarbons.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
And it says it is a mini split install bonsai, and I seen the one thing on the back of the old on the back of the old air conditioners from like when they first started putting house units in the 80s and or whatever and shit. It says on the back, caution, release pressure from lines before undoing. So back then they was just having you cut the line, let it breathe into the air and take it away, you know. And now they have to I think they trap it in a can or some shit when they empty those out.
So I remember those old cars that had the R12 in it for your air conditioner. They used to get cold. See, like nowadays, you know, when you fire up your car, it takes a while for it to start cooling down because that R134 runs on a lot higher pressure. So it takes it longer to get going.
Yep. That's a good point. I didn't know that, but it makes sense, man. That's pretty cool. Whew, I need this joint. Anyhow, we go around and do some garden looking here. I know on Wednesdays we can't get to we don't get to see them. Oh shit.
We don't get to see either Jace's or Artman's at this time on Wednesdays. You can
Art's gonna be pulling 10 pounds out of his grow now with that mini split in there.
I don't know about no 10-pounder. I never heard anybody doing that, but it should make things a lot better. At least the shape of the plants will be better. Jeez, that's all I care about. I don't want foxtailing like crazy. That sucked.
Yeah, I'm borderline on the heat right now. Temperature, I'm getting up closer to the mid 80s, and I've got that portable AC in here, but I keep tripping breakers. I got an extension cord running out, so I need to find a good outlet to tie into for now.
Yeah, extension cords and that AC don't really mix too well unless you got a 12-2 with a ground or something.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's pretty thick extension cord. I've been keeping an eye on it, but I can't run it. I got to find an outlet. All the outlets outside of my grow here, I guess they're tied in the same breaker, the ones that are closest to us. So I need to venture out even farther and try to find one that's not on the same breaker.
Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate. I had my my box replaced, and this project today will fill in the last two empty breaker spaces. So
Yeah, I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to get a 220 outlet wired in on its own breaker here so I can put my grow light on it, and that'll take care of quite a bit of the amps I'm pulling out of this room right here.
my mini split is going to be 220, but I won't have an outlet. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because your grow light it pulls half the amps if you're running on 220 versus 110.
Right.
Woo, man. That one really got me good. It's a lung buster.
I figured I'd step in and for you for a second. You want to look at my shit, man? Use my
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, these are the flow plants. They're lots of roots, real pretty roots. Though. Looking real good. Oh, get back in there, you. Oh, come on.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Love seeing the roots.
Get them all
Good
back
luck
down in there.
them all. Yeah.
Oh, I got them. They'll do fine. Okay, that's a Bama lamb. I still don't know what I'm going to do with that one. I'm not really sure. Turn off my dehumidifier. All right.
There we are.
Throw my
Uh-oh. Did he freeze for you, Jace?
Yeah, sure did.
I wanted to
There
make
it
sure.
goes.
There you are.
froze right when I walked over the threshold, huh? Okay, let me
Try
see.
it again. We got time.
I'm going to go real slow. See right where we freeze. I'll turn this fan off.
I think we're good this time. Cheers, XY.
Okay. So this is the Golden Slurricane from Puffy. It's filling in quite well. It's got nice little budlets.
She gonna be
Still with me? Okay, good.
She got a certain look to her, man. I think she's gonna be freaking huge.
I really cleaned out the bottom, and you can't even tell hardly. They jumped right back. I cleaned all of these out. And this is the Bamba lamb. This is the main stem. It's pulling all the way from over there to here. So she's thickening up. Not as much as the slurricane, but not too bad. And
It
that
looks
flow
great.
back there, oh my God, it's shooting to the ceiling. I have no idea. I can only assume it's the hot. It don't like the heat. These two didn't do that though. So I don't know. But
No,
I don't know
the
what to
legs
do
look
with
great.
her.
That's
That one,
weird. It could just be the. You think it's just the genetics, man? Does they seem to a good bit of those seem to do that? But you're right. You've been
yeah,
dealing with heat.
yeah. Well, maybe some genetics too. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I really can't tuck them anymore because then it'll crowd out both of these plants. They're
And,
really tall.
and it's the
I'm
same
not.
if you try to bend them down to that net, man, or even tie them back down to the
Yeah,
net. You're gonna probably start shading colas. They're so tall, huh?
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of at a. I don't know what to do. I got lots of flow jars, so theoretically, I mean, I could cull the plant or cut all those colas off or whatever, But I don't want to do that. But I mean, if it came to it, I could. It wouldn't hurt me as far as stash goes. But anyway, that's what's going on here. Tall, tall plants again. Hopefully the air conditioning will stop a lot of that. If not, I'll know what's going on.
I was gonna say that'll be one thing is you'll know when you run one of the other cuts later at the correct temperatures that you want. If it doesn't stretch, you'll know they're sensitive. But it may surprise you. It'd still just be a longer
Could
plant, you know.
could be. It could be. It has taken over. Two plants will fill that scrog. So it's not a. That's probably the case.
See, in my mind, you have one sativa build and two indica builds in your tent. That one's a
I
little
do.
iffy. The one that Puffy sent you in my mind is all indica is what it looks like. Just the stoutness, the thickness. That's what in my mind I equate it to. And then when I see your flow OG, I immediately think there's a sativa strain, you know,
And then you look at the other one, and it's right between. So it's a
and it's right in
Goldilocks
the
kind of.
middle. It's got the size more of like the indica, but it does have some broader leaves I saw on the top. But so it's like I guess maybe we'll call it the hybrid, the smart hybrid, because it's a.
Exactly. You're right. I gotta
Cheers,
figure out how.
Cal, JK, Jim Town, Steve. Yeah,
See
man.
when
There's
that
that
is.
clone right there in the middle. You don't know what you're gonna do, or on the left, you don't know what you're gonna do with it.
No, not yet. She's no longer a clone though. That's a small plant for sure. Yeah, it's been in there 2.5 weeks, so almost
Yeah.
3 weeks as far as the flower. So
So what's the problem? It's gonna be too big when you harvest this one. It'll get too big, or
well, in flower, the problem is the light, the par, the par, keeping everything even, because everybody wants like Gigi's uh, canopy. Everybody goes for Gigi's canopy. So,
right.
but that one is not going to do it. So I'm not sure what I'll do. Kind of up in the air.
The GG canopy. Yeah, it's tough when you grow multiple strains though.
It is
Amen.
absolutely. That's the downside. Yeah, Jace, you're going through the same thing. Let's see yours.
Yeah, let's go see Jace's stuff. Unless I guess, I would say it might be, I guess it just stands to reason due to physics that a SOG would be easier to control even with multiple strains. But you would still have your differences. Maybe have one plant that's,
Not as
14,
much.
16 inches and one that's
Yeah.
12. It's
Not
still
as much though. Yeah.
but it would help mitigate. These things are looking great. They're stacked to the roof.
Yeah, especially that jack over
Oh,
there. This is right here. There's the laughing Buddha on the front left. It's the farthest one behind. I can tell this is going to be a 10 to 12 week strain, which is what they were saying. So it's going to take the longest. That was the last one to get pistils, and the buds are behind the other ones, but they still look pretty good.
they look great. They're stacking up good.
Yeah, man.
I
I
I
like
got
call
more
that.
of
that
those.
they're the full 26 miles, man.
I got more of those sticky traps. I got one for each plant now, trying to fight those fungus gnats.
How many are you seeing?
On the traps?
Yeah, because that's what those traps really are. They're just to give you an indicator of how bad your infestation is. Contrary to popular belief, they're not really meant to control the pest. They may market them as that, but most people just, a lot of times you'll see them, Jace, they have 1-inch squares on them in ink. And that's so you can count how many bugs are in each 1-inch square and shit and try to do a measurement of the level of infestation, versus
Yeah,
like
these are.
a mouse trap for gnats. It does help.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I
I
was
keep
trying to get those, but they didn't have them at the store. This is all they had. I went to Lowe's. They didn't have the yellow ones like I usually get. These work pretty good though. They're catching them on there really good. You just can't see them. But these are nice because they have ridges on them, so the glue is only in the valley and not on the peak. So when you touch it, it doesn't stick to your hand.
Oh, that's ingenious. I actually really like that idea. You can
Yeah,
even have leaning on your pot.
yeah, because it just lays right against it and it doesn't stick to the side of the pot like them yellow ones would. But this is the Jack. That's the biggest one here. That thing's getting big.
yeah, she shot up, huh? You
Hope I
got the
can get
same
in there.
problem? Well, not the same problem I do, but different strains.
Hey, I want to say real quick, APM wrote this in chat. This is for OK Jace. Build a Soul just came out with a new product. It's the BT Extra Strength. Supposedly a couple applications and no fungus gnats can stand up to that.
Yeah, I did buy some of those mosquito dunks. I'll get to that in a second. I got it in my res right now, but I just started using those. Let's see, I put them in Friday. I put one of them in my res, those round disc.
I used
So
to know a kid that Jace, he would cut those bits up and break them into pieces, and then he'd go around and stick a couple pieces in each cocoa.
yeah, you
It
can
just
do that. They sell those bits too, like those mosquito. They're like the mosquito dunks, but they're pellets. I think they're called mosquito bits. I think it's the same
Yeah,
stuff though.
same shit. And then I think that helps maybe like a direct contact versus just coming through the water. Not that one's better than the other. I think it could be a dual attack for you though if you get too bad. A lot of people think fungus gnats are not an issue. Let them go, whatever. But I heard from Capulator. I think everybody knows who Capulator is. He created the Mac 1 strain, the Miracle Alien. Uh, he actually had lost an entire grow in flower to fungus gnats. He said he had it set up on automation, wasn't checking it all the time, was maybe coming once or twice a week. Noticed he had them, left, come back, noticed them, didn't realize kind of how bad they were. And then his plants just all started to shit on him everywhere. Like 2 weeks before harvest, 3 weeks before harvest, just enough to give him a shit. I think some of them he didn't even keep. But nonetheless, I was like, that's the first and only instance that I had ever heard of fungus gnats chewing on their roots to a point that it created a massive uptake issue and the plants died or had to be harvested much earlier, But so I always felt like, yeah, they're kind of like not really that big of a deal in lower numbers, I guess. It's part of like a cycle or whatever, especially if you're in soil and shit, they can be a little, but they can get out of hand. And I feel like any infestation needs to be nipped in the bud, especially in our growing styles.
Yeah, I think I got it right at the perfect point. It was starting to get noticeable, but I don't think it's past the point of no return. I did hear that too, that they will chew up your roots and they'll fuck with your nutrients and everything. So yeah, if you don't get a hold of them, they can really decimate your crop there.
Well, I don't want them stuck in my buds either.
Yeah, no shit.
That'd be
This is
he wants to know. It says just water less, no more fungus gnats. In his system, Jim, he's not able to do that. He's running high frequency fertigation with cocoa, and to maintain good osmotic pressures and shit at the root zone, you must maintain that that balance of salts in there. So as a dry back comes, it'll create hydrophobic cocoa. It'll create osmotic stress. The plant will actually suffer and have to divert energy to the roots to try to get some sort of equilibrium there. And it can really be stressful for the plants in cocoa to do a hard dry back.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, that's for sure.
Yeah. With that being said, I've done this before, Jace. And I don't know what the rhyme or reason is from it, but I've had plants that were shitting out on me. They were little tiny plants. I thought they were going to die on me. Couldn't figure it out. pH pen, whatever. And I'm all pissed off. Then I give them too much 8202, whatever. So I threw them in the corner in the tent and figured, fuck, those ones are done. They're dead to me, you know. Let them dry, sitting there. The other ones I'm watering. The ones that were sitting there drying out ended up bouncing back and doing great. The ones I kept watering didn't do good. So I'm still to this day trying to figure out if it was something that maybe could have been in my water, because it was one of the times where actually doing the exact opposite of what, you know, worked. But I've seen many times my plants get dried up as bigger plants and suffer from it. They were like really cruising and clicking. Everything just seemed to be going good. Then I miss a watering or two or a whole day. They dried back. And then I just notice all these problems coming, and it takes a couple days to balance back out. It's very noticeable. So I think, and I didn't mean to like go off on Jimtown and pick him out, but I think a lot of people under that same notion, Jason, might give you that idea to dry back, which in soil is not as bad of an idea as it would be in, say, our media.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like certain remedies don't work in all situations.
Right.
Like putting sand on top of the media, you know, like we talked about, that's not good for cocoa. You know, drying back. So I'm hoping that BT, those mosquito dunks, will get enough bacteria, and that's what it's supposed to do. It just creates a bacteria that kills out the larvae. Oh, speaking of which, I sent you a little video, Smart, on Instagram. I got my microscope out and zoomed in on things. Them fuckers are nasty, man. You can see the little larvae and you can see the little babies crawling around in there in the soil.
Oh, it's freaky when you get down to that level, what you can see. I did the same
Yeah.
thing when I got my microscope. I was on my skin, my hair follicles. I was doing all, I'm like, ugh, I didn't want to put up with I shouldn't have did that, you know?
Yeah, so this is my Acapulco Gold here in the back. It's stacking up real good, man. It's all the way.
It's beautiful.
This one's stacking the best. It doesn't have the biggest buds. That Jack, I think that's the biggest buds. Maybe that Blue Dream in the back, the fattest buds. But these are stacking the best. I like the way it's growing so far the best. I think I might need to get some yo-yos, because not for the mains here, but I've got some of these satellite branches down here that are kind of like this one. It's kind of sagging off. I'd like to pull it up, and this one's kind of laying on the tent when I close it up, and I don't like that. So I might get on Amazon and get me some yo-yos. Still trying to avoid the trellis. It'd be a bitch to try to get a trellis in here now.
It would. It would.
Yeah, that one's going good. I don't know if I can get in the back and show you that Blue Dream. Let's see if I can get back here behind my tent.
Well, I was gonna say maybe if you go up high, we could get a. Oh, okay. You do have it open. Blue Dream's always a crusher, man. I think it's gonna give you some weight.
Yeah. This has a nice fat buds on it.
I
Kind
love
of roundish.
It's a great daytime smoke, man. I freaking love it. Have you grown that before yet, Jace?
No, I haven't smoked it. It smells good. It's kind of got like a berry, kind of like blueberry, kind of sweetish smell going. I'm not really good on picking up on smells like that, but this one has the best smell so far, or the most distinct, I would say.
Well, that's
out of all of them.
What it should smell like, as far as I'm concerned. You know, that's perfect. But that thing got some golf balls on it already. Those are going to be some chonkers. They have that look, man.
Yeah.
They're fuzzy.
Let me show you what I did. I took a page out of Art's advice there. There's my res. I bought a strainer to put that mosquito dunk in.
Nice.
That works.
That's a smart idea. It's like a.
It's
Well,
just a paint strainer.
You don't have little chunks floating around your res.
Yeah, I turned it off because it gets
Can't
kind of
have
noisy in here.
Yeah, you can't have that. Not with
Yeah, I was kind of worried about that. Plus, it coming off and plugging up my emitters. I was speaking of plugged up emitters at Acapulco Gold. I came home a couple of days ago. I think it was bone dry, man. The emitter got plugged up, and I had to go out and wash it out. It had so much shit inside of it. I think it's just like biofilm or something that builds up. But I got it cleaned out now, and it's rocking and rolling again. One of the drawbacks of automation.
Yeah. Yes, it is. everything has its price, man. You know.
I got my replacement probe in for my Apera too.
Okay. Now, do you need that, or is it just on deck?
Well, I already swapped it out. This is the old one. It was kind of getting to the point where I could tell it was kind of on the fritz. Like the pH side was working good, but the EC side was really fluctuating when I was doing my readings. So I've had it for, well, this is my third grow, but I've had it for over 2 years, I think. And I think they say, well, it tells you on this right here on the instructions, I think they're only good for maybe up to 18 months at the most. Right here. 12 to 24 months.
Yep, I was gonna say when I talked to the guy on the technology guy, IT tech or whatever that dude would be, when I called there, he said that they're supposed. He said you usually get about 2 years out of them for accuracy. He goes, but we have people call in telling us they've had theirs for 5 years and now it's finally messing up, and we always tell them, like, consider yourself lucky. You got some longevity out of it. It's a consumable product, at least a probe tip. And Para understands that, which is why they sell a tip only. It kind of keeps us from, I like Para, man. I've had them all, and that's my favorite so far. Even though I had one shit on me, I found out it was kind of my fault for the storage and shit. I didn't know any better, and that's my fault for not researching. But sometimes you just don't know until you fuck up,
Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, if you bought I think brand new, these are $130, and then the probe was like $50 or $60. So it's a substantial cost still. But imagine if you had to buy even a cheap, PC and EC pen, you're looking at probably $25 a piece. So there's your $50. And the instrument itself is still good. I mean, you just have to replace that probe tip on it, every couple of years or whatever. Depends on your usage. I think the more you use it, the shorter the life is on it.
I think the biggest thing, this is a good point. This is my opinion. I think the biggest thing for pen longevity is keeping it clean. And we test so much. It's easy to run in and say, I got to be somewhere in an hour. I got to hurry up, mix this, boom, 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 give it, and you're out the door and it's hanging there. Now I'll dip it in water or something, but sometimes the water I'm dipping it in has been there for a week and it ain't great and shit, So if I'm being honest, I could do a much better job at cleaning them before I put them away. And I think that equals longevity. That's what I do. I keep a cup of clean water that I try to exchange every time I change my res, and I use it for dipping my probe in.
Yeah, I need to get that when I calibrate. I need some RO water there.
Any tools, isn't it? Pretty much anything you work with. Keep your tools good shape.
Yeah, I always rinse it in RO water every time I get done. And they say you're supposed to, if you're doing short-term storage, like if you're using it frequently, then RO water is supposed to be good. But long-term storage, they recommend that KCl solution. But I keep mine in KCl all the time.
Yes, I do. I keep my pH probes in there now. I learned that because KCl, which is potassium chloride, if I remember correctly, that's what's inside the little bulb on your pH pen. That's what they use inside that bulb. Now, I'm still trying to, I asked somebody what that little bulb's going on inside there. What's happening there that it can tell me pH, but I don't think I ever got a straight answer yet. I'm going to bring that up again when I get around some people that might know a little technology better than me. But that's the smart way. But they said that we talked about this. They said that solution, that KCl solution, will absolutely destroy your EC pen, which is why it's kind of counterproductive for them to sell an EC pH pen together. That's the one thing I get the convenience, but they need to have like a big red printed letter inside the case when you get that 2-in-1 and says, look, and spell it out like we're idiots because we're stoners, man. Only soak this thing in about a couple 10 drops of KCl and always have it upright. If that's what they told you, then you'll get longevity out of it, Hey, you guys want to answer J Rock 96? He asked, "What do you guys here? Let me read. What what nutrients do you guys use with your cocoa? Any benefits of going from General Hydro to like Advanced Nutrients Regular or their cocoa line, Athena, etc.? I have my take, but I always like to hear everybody else's opinion. I know our buddy Art, man. He's in a recirculating DWC old school NASA style. So
it doesn't apply, but you should give him yours first, right off the bat.
yeah, I'll give
Do
you
it,
mine.
man. Hell yeah, do it to it.
Oh, did I forget to pin the link? Mother fricker. See what happens when my wife's not here?
Well, I've only ran 2 separate nutrients. I ran Athena on my first 2 grows, and then I'm doing General Hydroponics right now.
I'm coming, seed person. Shit. I thought I had it linked. So let me put this up there. I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. You guys are asking a lot. Let's see here. Oh, look at this. He's got the pimp wagon out. What's up, XYZ?
Not much. Hey, you were asking about pH pen, how they work.
Yeah, what's going on inside that little bulb, man?
So what happens is it's basically a miniature battery. Hydrogen atoms only have 1 electron in their outer orbit. The KCl basically in the glass separator turn it into a battery. So the more hydrogen you got, or free hydrogen electrons, it measures it, makes more power. But it's minuscule amounts of power. That's why they break so easy and they're always needing calibration.
That's why they're kind of like, hey, I want to say hi to our buddy Seed Person here too. That's why they're so fragile then.
Yep.
Go ahead, Seed Person.
Sorry, I
anyways,
wasn't trying to interrupt y'all.
Oh, that's fine.
Can you hear me okay? I got my stupid headphones in, but
yeah, I
it's bad,
just
I
got
can
done
switch.
eating at this place. It's actually really good.
What's it called?
Memphis Barbecue Company.
Hey, you got a BMW, man. I always wanted one of those cars, man, my whole life. Never got to drive. Yeah, man. I always wanted a BMW. They're expensive. Congratulations to you, man. You work hard. You earned that car. Ha! I bet it's smooth. I never had a new car, man. I only ever had used cars.
Yeah, well, it's rental, so say what you will of it.
I'd beat the wheels off of that thing. I'm just kidding.
Well, you try not to beat the wheels off of it because then they get pissed off with you and they charge you money for that. You know?
Yeah, they generally make you pay.
Yeah, they don't like it when you beat the shit out of their cars.
Read the fine print.
Yes.
It reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where he goes to the airport to pick up his car, and they're like, "We don't have your car." And he goes, "But I made a reservation." And she goes, "I know you did, but we ran out of cars." And he said, "I don't think you understand what a reservation is. Anyone can just take. He goes, "It's the holding that is the crux of it, you know, just the hold." And I guess a lot of people deal with that, man. That would suck, dude. You think your trip's all planned out, and then you're waiting for hours for a car.
I'm going to drop off. I'm going to listen in the chat. I got to drive back to my hotel.
All right, buddy. Thanks for explaining it to me.
Later, Big A. Thanks.
Bye.
Science nerds. What would we do without them? I don't understand it.
So back to the nutrients question. I like General Hydroponics. I'm no chemist. I'm just going by what Doc Coco, some other people have said, and my own experience using just a couple different kind of nutrients. A lot of people don't like General Hydroponics. They say you're paying for water and stuff, but the truth is, it may be a little bit of that, but it's very concentrated and it's very stable. That's the thing you want to look for with a nutrient company. A lot of these nutrient companies get their prices down by mixing an unstable mixture together. So the way you can always pick those nutrient companies out is they'll have in there, wherever their nutrient schedule is, they'll have regular flushings. If you see a regular flush as a part of a nutrient schedule, stay away from it. It means their formulation isn't right and shit loads up. And that's not good, because you will see the buildups later on. Now, I also want to say that I think you can grow with any of those nutrients once you understand the plant and how those nutrients affect the plant. We used advanced nutrients for a grow. We use general hydroponics now, and I always used Mega Crop Dry back when it was the 1 part and it smelled like dead fish. And then I had their Bud Candy and some other things. I think the main thing I think is one of the most important things that I tell people, because when it was revealed to me, I found it to be such a revelation, was that plants don't eat nutrients like we eat food. That's just the nutrients are there to facilitate healthy photosynthesis. So when we put them there in the right ratios and at the right pH and all that, the salinity's right, the plant uptakes those nutrients very nicely. And you don't want to interrupt that. It's I like GH. It's very stable, man. And I see like Athena never falls out. Athena recommends a really high EC, and I never can figure out why. It seems very salty. I know if I mixed my general hydroponics nutrients with the salinity that they ask for, I would completely kill my plants in like a week, man. So I can't figure. I'm afraid to try some of this shit, but that's about my take on nutrients. Stay away from if you're in cocoa, stay away from any cow mags that have a high nitrogen. That'll fuck your plants up. That's why we all use Cali Magic. It's got a 200 for the NPK.
100.
Is it 1? I'm sorry, 100.
Yeah, because I was running Athena my last run, and that was one thing that I got away from. Actually, I got it right here. Yeah.
What do you use now, Jace?
So it's Athena had 200 on her CalMag, and then Cali Magic has 100. So yeah, I'm using general hydroponics now. Yeah, Athena. So I ran it last time, and yeah, I got up to, I wanted to say 2.4 EC at one point, what they recommended. And I mean, I ran it according to their feed schedule. I didn't have any problems, to be honest, but yeah, that's a lot.
That's pretty high, isn't it? I mean, I'm going 1.3 or 1.3.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm running about half that EC on this general hydroponics. I mean, y'all see my plants, they look really good. So I'm happy with what it's doing right now. So I haven't really noticed any difference on that as far as one being superior to the other.
Well, they do like you to use more. They like you to use more of their newts at one time.
That's all I always tell people too. You got to be careful. The same people that are selling you the nutrients are giving you the ratio. Mix your own.
0.4.
Yeah, mix your own. Watch your plants. Give them a little less till you see your plants are actually. This is coming from somebody who has a few jars in the cupboard and shit. Not your very first grow, but once you're into this for a bit, you're into it, and you can maybe feed them a little less, man, and see how they do. That's the only way and that's the best way for me to learn. I got to see it right in front of me, and I've done it. Fed my plants too little and watched them get pale and act funny. I watched them come back. I've also overfed them and watched them claw and had just suffer from root stress so bad, and they just kind of. The leaves dry, they'll get crunchy and everything, and so I think you can grow every nutrient line is going to have all your main nutrients and all that shit. Use most of the big ones anyhow. They're going to have everything you need to grow your plants. If you can figure out how to use them, you should be good. But it can take a little bit of a lot of times we just have to get away from the less is more, or we have to get away from more is better. More is better. I always tell people a glass of orange juice is good for you, but if you drank 15 gallons in 10 minutes, you'd probably die, So you got to think of your nutrients like that. It's surprisingly how small amount of nutrients your plants actually need to create good photosynthesis. We got to remember they grow from the CO2, not from the nutrients, you know? You're welcome, Joker. Like I said, or Joker, I'm sorry, J-Rock. That's just my take. And I'm just one construction worker growing in 2 tents. There's guys out here that have been doing it way longer than me. And they also have the ability to watch multiple plants, you know, or like, you know, 100 plants on different things and shit. And so.
Well, another thing too is like on this Athena, it's you'll have to have at minimum four bottles. You got an A and a B of grow and bloom, whereas general hydroponics is 3 bottles, you know, not including your CalMag for either one of them. So it's one less bottle you got to buy if you're going general hydroponics. Same thing with like Fox Farm Trio.
Now, does Athena have a silica supplement in there?
No, but they came out with a product. I didn't use it. I got, what's that stuff called? I think it's called Balance. So they use that to balance or stabilize RO water. So and I think it does have silica in it. So that's their version of it. So you put that in your RO water to stabilize it first, and then it has silica in it. But they have, so yeah, there's the Grow A and B, and then they have a Bloom Booster EK that you can use. That's optional. I did use that on my other 2 grows. And then you have your cleanse as well, which is the hypochlorous acid. And then I've got my other 2, but actually I threw away my 2 bloom bottles because they were almost empty. That's what made me switch to. It was time to buy new nutrients, and I was wanting to try out Doc MJ's feeding schedule and nutrient line.
Well, that's
his
what
recommendations.
J-Rock was asking if when following Dr. Coco's schedule, any changes to the amounts or add-ons to that. My personal way, J-Rock, I don't use Rapid Start anymore. I felt that it was very expensive, and I noticed pretty much the same amount of roots with and without it. So I thought that's a big expense I could cut out. And I also cut out Cool Bloom. Cool Bloom just wasn't good. And Doc MJ's new schedule, I think, has cut it way back, if not eliminated altogether. But I cut it out totally, and it was becoming antagonistic with my CalMag, and I didn't know this. One day, like 4 years ago, I was like, man, my plants are just looking like shit in flower. What's going on? And after walking around my garden with Doc MJ, he said, cut the Cool Bloom pretty much all the way out. And when I did, everything went back to really good. And ever since then, I pretty much quit using it. I had a whole gallon of it. I kept maybe throwing a little bit in here and there just to kind of get rid of it. But it didn't seem to work great in our thing. But I'm the
same way, Smart. That's what I use now. This is my whole line up here. You got your CalMagic, the Micro, the Grow, Bloom, Diamond Nectar, and then hydrogen peroxide. That's what I use in all my stuff.
Hey guys, let me interrupt you for a second. I got to scoot. The kid is on his way to work, so I got to put my gopher hat on. Gopher
Hell yeah.
Go for this. All right, I'll see you guys later.
See you, Art.
Cheers, bro.
Bye.
That's cool. Art Man's getting his mini split installed today for his grow room. It's good for him, man. He's been waiting for that. He's excited, you know.
I'm excited, man. That's exciting times right there.
I can't wait to see. He's already a very impressive grower. I can't wait to see how having extra control over his environment is going to help him out down there, you know.
Anytime you can update your grow, it's happy times.
I see males. Hey, you're muted, seed person.
It's just one male. And,
I see flowers.
We are dripping pollen. Let's do this.
Oh wow, it's go time. Oh, nice. This is a family show. We're seeing coffee. That's awesome.
A lot of nuts in there.
Yes, there is.
Oh, I can see it floating around in the air.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's
Looks
like
like
being back at work at the wood shop. Like, yeah, there's like flowers down in here now. Male flowers. You see
I
that?
say I see pods everywhere.
Yeah. All right. I hope y'all like these. This is green crack reversed and pollinated to platinum float, and then the male is nightmare cookies, and that's going to be the goth girl seeds that get sent out to anybody in the community that wants them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a lot of them.
And then I've already got the next round of crosses planned for this, just for fun. Yeah, I got like 5 other strains that I'm gonna do. Pick a male out of these seeds, and then just hit it to all those. So then I'll have like 6 strains that I can just send people packs, for giveaways and stuff.
Right on.
And then whichever ones people like the most, we'll do F2s and maybe throw them up on some seed bank for like $20. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't like the idea of selling seeds in terms of like getting money for a product that I just pollen chucked. But if I take it to like F3, then I would be comfortable selling it.
Yeah, you're consuming a lot of your time, tent time, light time, all that shit, and not to mention they would pretty much be able to watch the Swamp Poker YouTube channel and watch the birth of their seeds all the way through. It's so to speak,
Yeah, it's good education too. So
it is. It is. You can see right where your seeds come from week by week, them growing in the plant or whatever. That would be cool. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What's going on here? That thing looks ready.
this one is. I'm just letting it run. It's full of seeds already. It's the Afghan that was pollinated with the Indian landrace. And I'm just gonna let it go until I get back from my trip, and then I'll chop it.
Are they squeezing out yet?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I don't know if y'all can see. It's hard to tell because it's so ripe.
Yeah, you can see a lot better in person. Start seeing the tips of them and shit.
I moved this one out of here because I up potted it like Ice and I suggested, and then it was like in the light, so I moved it to the desk for the re-veg. This is one of the ones. This is that really frosty flapjacks, and then this is hopefully going to be one of the ones that gets in the next round of crosses. Yeah, APM. It's an Afghan landrace. It's from Sheboygan, Afghanistan. Y'all want to see a root ball?
Yeah, it's still in there. Oh man, that's nuts. It's made its own solo cup out of roots. That was darn good too.
Yep, that's what I got.
And the Sheboygan of Afghanistan. Is that what you got?
The what? Sheboygan.
What's the Afghanistan strain?
It's from Sheboygan, but he's making a joke about Sheboygan.
Where's Sheboygan? Is that New Jersey?
It's in Wisconsin.
Sheboygan. I know I heard that before. Yeah, it might be. You're probably right. Hey, I got a question for you guys, man.
For me?
For anybody. Should I be storing my FICO in the fridge, or is it all right at room temperature?
It's fine at room temperature.
I feel like it's losing potency, or I'm gaining a hell of a tolerance because I took a big.
You're gaining a tolerance.
I took a big spoonful yesterday, man, with that dab tool. Put it on there, and it didn't hit me like it normally does. I didn't sleep through the night like I normally do, and I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? Is that shit did I not store it right or something? Because it's getting a little bit old,
No, it's your tolerance. Or it could also be like your stomach, something you ate, preventing it from uptaking quickly. Or, I don't know. I will say that it just, depending on like your other things going on with your body, it may or may not be as strong, like set and setting.
Yeah.
Because my wife, she's been eating cookies for the last week or so. She ate a cookie and a half every day and slept pretty well. And then just randomly the other day, she ate a cookie and a half and like couldn't fucking walk straight. And like I had to help her brush her teeth and shit and get ready for bed.
Oh.
So I don't know. And then she ate one the next night and was fine. So I don't know what that was about, but it like hit her like a fucking brick.
Well, it usually hits me hard, man. Like at first, my eyes would get real super heavy and sticky, and I mean, I look blowed out, you know. And then I kind of this is like a series for me. I've noticed I'll get the yawns when it first kicks in, then I move on to the laughs. I start laughing at everything. I get like, you know, almost slap happy and shit. And then after that, I usually just pass out. But it's been slowly where I can take it and not have to worry about, because before I was like, man, I have to make sure that I'm in for the night and I got my garden watered and everything, because I'm just too freaking high when I take that. And now it's like, it feels like, what are we, maybe a month later, I'm taking twice as much and getting a quarter as high, or a quarter the effect, I should say. And I wasn't taking it every single night. I probably missed 2 or 3 here and there, 2 or 3 here and there, you know? So I thought it was weird. Maybe it's just like you said. I guess it could be an anomaly. I didn't have enough the right stuff in my stomach or whatever. Yeah.
You know, I think it is probably tolerance. But I will say, can I address APM's comment about eating lots of different edibles and RSO and not getting an effect from it? It's because your body is actually converting it into a different compound in the liver. Normally, when you smoke cannabis, it goes straight through the blood-brain barrier into the brain, but from your lungs to your blood to your brain, right? When you eat cannabis, it goes through your digestive system, through your liver, it's converted into a different compound, and then that goes up to your brain. And so that's why edibles are so much more potent, depending on certain things about everybody's biology is different. So you'll be converting it maybe not to the full like potential of like what other people's body could do. Does that make sense? Like we could both eat 100 milligrams and you get 90% high off it and I only get 75% high off of it because of different like things that are happening in my body versus your genetics are different and things like that.
That happened to me one day, but I was smoking though. I don't smoke a lot. I might smoke 4 or 5 times a week, and I'll just smoke a joint. But it was actually about like a month ago. It was right before Hunt Days, and actually the show got canceled. Thank God, because man, I got locked up and I couldn't function. But I think the show was about to start or was getting close, and I was wanting to smoke, so I went outside and smoked real quick. And I think maybe it just like the speed, or like I just sucked it down. And yeah, I came back in and started setting up my tent and everything to get my camera set up. And man, I was locked up, man. And then I saw the show was canceled. I was like, oh, thank God.
The other thing is that some people don't actually convert the compound, and so they don't get high on edibles. Like I believe it's a very small percentage of people, but their body doesn't actually even convert the THC into the other compounds, so it's just bypassing the body altogether and just coming out the other end.
That's interesting.
As far as I understand it, but the whole like smoking weed really fast definitely gets my heart racing sometimes too. Like if I am in a hurry and I rip one real quick and then I try to go do something, I'll be like shaky and trying to like focus and shit.
Oh yeah, I had the cold sweats, man. I had to put my head down on my desk and just lay down and chill out for a minute. Yeah, I got a guy. He swears that too. Like he said, he can take like 500 milligrams of edibles and like it doesn't touch him. Of course, I don't believe him, you know, because if I do, well, back at my peak, I was doing like 100 milligrams a dosage, and it was getting me going. But yeah, as far as like not even affecting you, I don't know.
It's wild, dude. I've built up a tolerance before on brownies and shit, and the same brownie that made me very uncomfortable at first was something that I could eat and feel decent on, you know, only just so many doses later. But I just felt like this FICO was going to be a little different. I don't know why. I guess because it's not in a butter or something, you know. But you know, I'll say this real quick, then we'll go to Ace Boggy. Um, Spartan Grown had said something one day, and it corroborated with my experience, which was if you want the most, what do you call it? If you want the most, oh shit, like the
Like a full spectrum kind of all around.
No, he was talking about the effect. If you want like a certain effect, you want to go with butter because it has that effect more so, even though it doesn't hold as much, doesn't have as much MCT in it or whatever. It has a really strong effect, like not opioid effect, but like he used like another word, and I can't remember what it was now, but I was thinking he nailed it. That's exactly how it made me feel, more so than when I ate it in cocoa butter and other means. So, but anyhow, Ace Boggy's asking a good question. Going to be helping my father taking RSO. Now, I'm not sure if he's taking it for medicine because of whatever. I guess it doesn't matter. But my first thought was that your father may be sick and need this for like a medicine, and my heart drops. Either way, I'm glad you brought it up. Hopefully, you'll get the information you need. He's never done concentrates. What are my ways to make a larger dose more palatable? And I don't have. This is my first ever time that we made our FICO or RSO. I guess they're pretty close. And this is my first time walking through tolerances, dosages, and shit. So I'm not the one to ask. But I know there's a lot of people around me right now and in the chat, and I've done it a lot. I see a Bali, so I know Seed Person's been down that road.
Well, I don't know about for that, but I know like for edibles, that's why I did like gummies, and like the sour gummies, because like that sour takes away from that bitterness to me.
A ball is coming through with a good one. Ace Boggy is CBD is the key to up dosages without getting too high. It's an antagonist to THC. And I've heard this many times over and over through the last few years, I guess, is that if you take too much edibles, THC, I don't know if maybe works with smoking too, but if you're too damn high and you need to come down or at least level out, you can kind of like take the CBD and it'll get you there. I don't think it's not a Narcan, but it'll help clear you up, man, make you functional again.
I've heard that too. It's like the yin and the yang.
Yeah, it balances it out, man. Too much of one. And some people, you know, depending on who's taking it, they're probably pretty sensitive. I know I didn't take me much at all when I first started taking it.
I would say titrate your dose. That's what was recommended. You know, you're supposed to start with this piece the size of half a grain of rice and then work your way up to a full gram a day, right? Yeah. That's the medicinal regime or whatever. And then, yeah, fat is definitely helpful. I make butter. I think that butter versus like coconut oil versus extra virgin olive oil or something, they are going to be absorbed in the body differently. So it's going to have slightly different effects. You may get one that hits you harder or faster or whatever. But really, like experimenting is the best way to go and figure out what works best for your genetics and biology and everything.
Yeah, start low and go.
Yeah. Don't just go straight to the 1 gram dose. That's and definitely have CBD on hand if you are doing that, because it, like you said, it will bring it down. But yeah, Smont, that could account for it as well, because you're titrating your dose technically is what you're doing as well.
Yep. And you know, it's you say that because if it's somebody who's just getting on board with cannabis as a medicine, maybe they were raised during reefer madness. What we don't want to do is give them so much that it really freaks them out, man. You know, that's one of the best ways I feel is to chase someone away from this, is to give them like the strongest, most hardest effect that it can do. And I think that's counterproductive. And I don't think anyone would do that on purpose, you know, especially to their own family and shit. But I think it's good to mention that you can always take more, but it's tough to stop once you get rolling, especially if you're new at it, you know, because you're going to spin out, you're going to psych yourself out a little bit and shit.
Infused butter or just regular butter as the carrier is the question from Ace Boggy. And I just want to say, when you infuse the butter, the THC and cannabinoids bind to the fat molecules in the butter, versus when you are using it as a carrier, it's just mixed in with it to so you're not just getting like a clump of cannabinoids, because that'll burn. And it also makes it more malleable and easier to separate, like a small dose, when you use it as in a carrier oil.
Cheers to the chat, man. There's a lot of good information being passed around. Abolish seems like a plethora of information. I know he always got some good inputs. Try to avoid decarbing the product as much as possible is a good way to up the cannabinoids over the high effect also. See, that's something I never thought of, tweaking the decarb. Now, I have said on here many times, man, that I felt like when we decarbed for an hour, I got it mixed up. I started decarbing for an hour instead of a half hour. And I noticed a difference, man, in our couple different batches of butter. They seemed like the one was very sedative effect, and which wasn't exactly what I was hoping for. But I think I never did the reverse engineering on that and thought, well, we could use that to kind of manipulate what buzz you get. But I guess if you think about it and do it enough, you would definitely see a correlation there.
Well, that's what Jack Greenstock says about his RSO. He has his nighttime RSO that he leaves on the warmer like hours and hours and lets it decarb and break down into CBN, versus the regular RSO, which is like the THC dose. Hello?
No, you're good. I was just sitting here taking it all in. I got pictures rolling through my head. I was thinking about something I saw on TV earlier that's totally off topic I want to bring up. It's not even about cannabis. It's just about outdoor agriculture, but it's fun. Is there a ratio of sugar leaves to bud when you want when making RSO? I only made a few syringes worth and used more bud. Yes, that's a good question. I'm going to say good in, good out, man. I think if the more trichier it is, I want some of my best shit in that jar, because I want to try. There's only so much space in that jar. I want to get as many trikes as I can. So, I mean, I'm sure you have sugar leaves that are totally covered, but it
shouldn't matter. I don't think you just use more trim to alcohol than bud to alcohol, because when you freeze everything, the reason why you're freezing it and shaking it is to break the trichomes off so you can concentrate them down. So whatever amount you put in there, depending on if it's sugar leaves, you're going to get less yield off of it. But if you use more of the sugar leaves, then you'll get the same amount, right?
Yeah, but it would require more alcohol to get it covered. And
that's true as well.
So if you're trying to go with like a 1 quart jar, you want to use your best shit that's the most trichiest. That way you can concentrate it. Here's something that we didn't mention yet, but best I learned to use multiple strains if you can too. And that gives you that entourage effect, I think they call it, or something, where you can get, you're getting like different cannabinoids and shit, terpenes, that all work together with each other that you wouldn't get just from using one strain. I think it's pretty obvious what the reason behind that is. But I think we used like 12 different strains. I was really happy with what we made. And I think that had a good impact on us having a nice first.
You're getting the whole bag of Skittles in one bite, so you're tasting the rainbow there.
Yeah, our first encounter with making it was a positive one, and I think that had something to do with it. It makes me want to make it more often, and it lasts a long time. If you take a good bunch of trim that's covered in trikes and fill up a quart jar, top that off with your alcohol and put it in the freezer. In my opinion, you're going to get the most medicine that way than any other way of processing that. And I've made hash and different things before. Never made butane oil or nothing, but in my experience, the FICO has extracted the most that I can get out of that material. We've shaken it before. I just like that FICO, man. I think it's a great way of doing it.
Since we were just talking about it, you know, you were just saying that yours isn't hitting you as hard and you're using it for sleep. So you could try squirting some into a little thing and warming it up and letting it stay warm for, you know, a day and see if it decarbs down into CBN more and see if that hits you harder.
It's a good idea. I never thought of that. I'm thinking decarbs down and it's over, but I could still manipulate mine with time and temperature.
Yep.
Damn, man.
You could put it in a little glass jar and then stick it in a pot of hot water.
Keeping them as acids. Yeah, there's a lot of good information in the chat. I keep just glazing over and reading what's going on in the chat. There's Puffy. We got to see Puffy's plant that Artman's growing, his slurricane. Is that what it was? No, I can't remember now. But he's growing his plant, and that thing looks great.
Golden slurricane, I think.
Golden slurricane. That's right. Yeah, I remember when that plant crossed. Whenever he made the seeds there, that's good information about the edibles and about FICO RSO, about making it. I think Ace Boggy has some information. It seems like they made it before, so they already know some of it. But you never know who's listening and might not know that. Hey, you know what I learned that was cool, guys? I found this very interesting. Never would know this without science, I guess. There's a what was I watching? It was called Planet Earth or something, and it was called Rain. It was all about rain, right? A whole like 45-minute show on rain. But the one part of it showed there's a microbe, a small little microbe that lives on plants, outdoor crops, on all pretty much all outdoor things, green shit. And they have a special protein inside of them. So this is what happens whenever it rains and it's real cold. The protein on that microbe makes the water freeze at a lower temperature. That's why when you get like really cold freezing rain and you go outside, you'll see it hanging on all the branches and the trees like they look like they've been dipped, you know, and that's why it creates a lower freezing temperature. And then it said they also, what happens is they're also what they call rain nucleides. I think it is nucleotides or whatever. It's a little dot of dust that pretty much starts rain. So what happens is when you get dry and all that warm air starts to rise, they actually separate from the plant, rise through the draft, get into the clouds, and then there are raindrop nuclei or whatever they call that. It forms around them into an ice crystal, falls to earth as rain, and they're back on their home turf, man, and they get back on the leaves. But I found that very actually interesting that that little microbe is on every leaf all the time. And, you know, healthy plants, you'd never know it was there. Pretty cool shit. I forget the name of it, what it was. It was like a real Latin word. But to find that cycle as being in part with the rain cycle, I found it very interesting.
I had some questions going back to the fungus gnat topic.
Let's go back to fungus gnats.
So the mosquito dunks, it creates a bacteria. I would assume that you shouldn't use hydrogen peroxide in conjunction with it, right? Because that would kill out that bacteria.
Right.
I would say yes.
Okay, so that's my question. So I'm having to run a non-sterile res now, so I don't have anything in there to prevent bacteria growth. I would assume I'm gonna have to clean this out a lot more frequently while I use this.
What you could do, I guess it might be kind of expensive, but you could get a HydroGuard for your tank while you're running mosquito dunks, because that's a good microbe. Does the same thing as H2O2, but it just outcompetes the bad bacteria.
So it wouldn't kill, the HydroGuard wouldn't kill the bacteria in the mosquito dunks?
I don't think it would. I could be wrong, but I don't think it would. What do you think, Seed Person?
It's the mosquito dunks are a they kill
Bacillus.
bad bacteria, don't they? Anyways, it's a good bacteria.
I think both
So
of them.
you're inoculating your res when you put it in there.
Maybe
Oh, so
that's
you think the mosquito dunks themselves will keep it sterile or clean enough?
I don't know, but are you in cocoa?
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's what I would do. I would get the mosquito dunks, crush them up, put them in like a bag, like a piece of cloth or something, piece of cheesecloth. Don't crush them up, just break them into small pieces, and then put them in a gallon jug of water for a couple hours. Let them soak. Take them out, and then apply that directly onto the cocoa, and just let it until you get runoff in between your normal feeds.
Yeah, I did that with, I just did that with my res water. I just had a feeding, so I got my water can and hand watered it as well to really get full saturation there. But moving forward, that seems like a problem too, like for future runs, how to prevent that from happening, and while maintaining sterility, not having all that biofilm build up.
You mean in your tank, so you're asking if putting the peroxide in your tank is gonna kill the BT after you apply it in your cocoa when you feed?
Well, yeah, I think it will, but here's my plan. I'm planning on running this for probably at least a week, probably 2 weeks, because that's the life cycle of the larva. And after that, I want to switch back to hydrogen peroxide. And I was kind of wanting to go in with like a more concentrated dose of hydrogen peroxide, but I remember Smot saying that he had too high of it one time, and I don't know if it damaged his plants or what. So I don't know like what's the maximum dosage of hydrogen peroxide you could give them without harming your plant.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know about that, but that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is just up the hydrogen peroxide a little bit for a little while,
Yeah,
and it'll.
because I've been running the standard dosage of 2.5 milliliters per gallon of 34%. So I was thinking I could at least double, maybe even triple it. I don't know what ratio Smot used when he had the issues.
Smart.
Smot, you still here?
He
Maybe maybe he's choking on one right now.
had to run to the bathroom. Yeah, I don't
Or
know. Whenever I got fungus gnats, I used Dr. Zymes, and I did a root drench one time, and it pretty much took care of it. And also let the top dry out, but I know that you can't do that. So,
yeah. Well, I heard too that instead of sand, you can also use rice hulls, but I don't know if rice hulls would have the same negative impact as sand would on that cocoa. It's more
mm,
coarse though. I don't think it would like get into the media. You know what I mean?
right. I don't know. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that just doing your plan with the BT or the mosquito dunks and the peroxide, and whenever Smot comes back, he can
I'm back.
tell us how much. What's up, bro?
My bad.
No, you're good.
What
Did
was
you find the handcuff key?
what was the question though? Oh,
So I don't know what part of that you heard, but basically my question was, since I'm putting the bacteria in there with these mosquito dunks, you're not supposed to run hydrogen peroxide with it to kill it. But basically, when I get done with it and I go back to using hydrogen peroxide, I want to increase my dosage on my hydrogen peroxide. And I remember you said that you had too high of a concentration one time, and I don't know if it damaged your plants or what. And
oh
I don't know
yeah.
what ratio you used, or what's the maximum ratio
Um,
you could use and still be safe.
well, what percent are you using? 30, 20,
34 per
30?
34.
Okay, I wouldn't go over. I've always seen the recommended dose being no more than 2.5 milliliters per gallon.
Yeah.
But I once did 10 milliliters per gallon, and it was too much. They all
What did
suffered.
it do to your plant?
They cooked them, dude. It fried the roots.
Okay, so don't quadruple the dosage, maybe like double or triple it at most.
You know what it was? It sounds like a cop out, but this is honest truth. Me and my wife was in there bullshitting, and we had just switched from flower newts back to seedling newts. And I think I was so set on giving a lot more for a bigger res, that I went and threw the same 10 milliliters, boom, filled it up to the 10, because that's what I have, a 10 milliliter pipette, fired it in there and just kept bullshitting. We fed them to the plants. And then I sat there like for days wondering what's killing my plants. And I got back to that, and I could swear that that's what I did. So it wasn't intentional. But after going through every other aspect that I could think of, calibrating the pen was fine, everything, we walked through everything. I had to go back to that, because I've done that before, man. After I squirted it, I'm thinking, shit, what was that? I'm all hot up. I got work on my mind. Me and the wife's talking, and I'm shooting shit in a bucket. And I'm thinking, what the hell was that? Was that 10? Was that 3? I can't remember. So it has hurt me, man. And I've also upped it before. Let's say this, Jace. I've upped it before. I can't remember what it was. I would say it's probably like 6 milliliters, trying to combat fungus gnats. And it seemed like I got some burnt tips and some droopy days from it. It worked, but I felt like I was walking the line there, and I never really dialed it in. I was adding more to the water that was already dosed because I knew it was a couple days old and shit. So, there was never any real scientific measurements for me as far as pushing them on purpose.
You know what? I don't let my wife talk to me when I'm mixing newts, because I've had to dump out so many fucking jugs of newts going, oh shit, did I already put it in? Or
we joints while we're in there, man. We sitting there and smoke joints and shit. One day we sat there, we smoked a joint. We were just sitting there talking, mixing, and I think we were waiting for a show to come on or something. And when we were done, I looked down. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong. We were totally done mixing, and it was still clear as could be. So obviously I missed the micro, and I was like, I didn't know what was in there. I'm pretty sure I put it in the right order, but I usually don't dump them, but that one I had to, man. Sometimes
I'll tell you what I do. I got a checklist, and as I'm going, I check it off every time, because I do that shit all the time. So I know it sounds silly, but I'll check it every time I dump something in there. I check it off. The CalMag, check it. Micro, check.
Hey,
that is some good SOP. And that's why SOP is a thing, right?
Yeah.
You can tell too when you get done and you check that EC, and if it's off a couple 100 points, you missed something.
Yep, that's true. It's very accurate. Like, and you'll notice yourself if you're mixing the same batch of nutrients, the same amount. This how I mix. I put pH down in my water first. Then I add my silica. Then I wait an hour. Then I come in with the rest of my newts in the order that we all do. So once you do that enough, you'll realize that you can actually lower your water down to like a 3, then add your silica, bring it back up to like a 7, and then when you're done adding your newts, you won't need much for down, you might not need any or just a couple drops, and that always feels good whenever you can put the right amount in before and not need any at the end. And it does help with the solubility of your silica, trying to force it into a solution. pH is one of the barriers there. Hey, Despicable Dabs asked earlier a good question, and I think he might have thought I forgot about it, but I didn't. It was seed storage. How do you guys store your seeds?
Well, I just got into the seed business here, and I've been kind of following you guys. I just put it in a light-proof container in the fridge and cover it up.
Yeah, that's what I do. Mine's in a lunchbox inside the fridge. I think the reason you don't want to store them frozen, I think the reason people don't do frozen, unless you somehow cryo freeze them, or you know a lot more than me, but I think just chucking them in your freezer is bad, because there is moisture inside there. There's stales in there and shit. And so when you put that in there and it freezes them, you can actually split them open and create problems. Like, the cells split open. Now, there's going to be people saying, oh, that's bullshit. They can handle a freeze, and they can. But if you're paying $10 a seed, do you really want to toss them in a freezer and take that chance? I think that they're good in fridge mode. It slows down the metabolism on the stored energy that they actually have. And, as long as they're in a cool, dark, dry place, I think they're good for a while. You hear about people popping seeds 20 years old. I wouldn't recommend keeping them that long, but I've had seeds that were, a couple years old that popped fine, man. And that's when I got them. Who knows whenever they were actually, hey, we got a old friend collective marijuana with us. How's it going, buddy?
Hey,
What up,
everybody!
bro?
I figured I'd help with this RSO thing. So we'd
All right.
just do some.
All right. RSO. Talk
Are you
about
gonna eat some right now, or?
Oh yeah, get a
Oh,
little
hell
thingy.
yeah.
We're gonna go in the bathroom. We'll heat it up, and then I'll put some on a cookie and.
And it's come on, funny feeling, huh?
Run it under
And
hot
then
water.
we didn't see him for 2 days.
He was on his phone for a little while, then he disappeared. So I'm assuming this is not homemade.
This is not the what smut?
This is not homemade. Is this homemade?
No, they had a special the other day. Everything was like 40% off at the dispo. So I got
damn.
Grassroots RSO, a half gram of garlic cookies. And then I got a little cookie to put on.
Oh, nice.
You're gonna put some garlic on there too?
Nah.
I'm just messing with
Wouldn't
you.
be bad.
So how much is that? How much was that? The whole thing? You say a half a gram?
Yeah, it was a half a gram, and it was I think it was 15.
Okay. Rice grain?
Yeah, just a little spot.
Yeah. Oh man, it's early in the day too. Looks like you're at a camp, man. Are you out having fun? What's going on?
Yeah, we got a camper, and we come up every weekend, and little fire pit, hammock,
Hell yeah.
picnic table.
That's living right there. That's my.
We had 2 trees come down recently,
That's vacation for me. Nobody's around.
and it's right on the creek.
No door handles that are all dirty and shit. Oh yeah, that looks cool, man.
It's not bad. You get out in the woods.
I love it. That's a nice camper, man. That's your little haven right there, huh?
Yeah, if you're too close in the city, you come out in the woods, and it's like all woods and
Yeah, you get
people just hanging out, bonfires every night, and
all those woods terpenes in your lungs, and your feet are touching the soil, and it feels good, man, being out there. You get smelling like smoke when you wake up in the morning. You smell the fire pit. I love that shit, man. You got your hound dog with you.
oh yeah, she's causing trouble. She wants the peanut butter cookie.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. You don't want that one.
Hell no.
That's a long nap for the dog.
But I'm gonna snack on this now.
Right on. He's like, I heard someone say RSO. I had to jump on. So how is the RSO from the dispensaries? You got a mouthful.
I think he's got a mouthful right now.
I'm sure it's good. I mean,
$15 for a half gram is what he said, right? That's a pretty good deal.
is it?
Yeah, it was on sale, $15 a half gram, and I don't know. I've gotten whole grams from them before, but I've only ever used like the whole gram in like baking stuff. I've never like just done just RSO dabs. I've always had it like in a cookie or something like that I baked a whole batch in.
Is there a black market RSO in my state of Pennsylvania? Is there like dudes out there buying RSO like we used to buy bags of weed? Because
Oh, yeah.
is there really? Wow.
There's still the black market out here in Pennsylvania. There's every time you go to the Pennsylvania.
Oh, he got cut off. He hit the wrong button. I find that it's my ignorance to think that a lot of the smokers in PA, because it's illegal, aren't educated enough to even really know what RSO is or FICO. But maybe that's just because I'm getting older and the younger generation's been exposed to this a lot more.
Yeah, it depends on your consumption too. Like, I mean, I don't consume it that way, so I don't really know much about it. I mean, I knew it existed, but yeah, if you don't use it, I guess you don't know about it.
You got cut off, Collective. You was showing us your shirt.
Oh yeah, it's the Kutztown Cannabis Festival.
Oh, okay. Kutztown. Yeah, I seen the that's a cool ass picture. I seen the billboards for that.
They had everyone there, and they were selling. I got hash. Here, let me grab that. I think that's in the car.
So, do people smoke at that event out in the open?
Out in the open, they're smoking. They're selling clones. So people were walking around with plants, leaving there with plants and stuff.
Come on, man.
How's that? That's still illegal though, right?
Yeah.
We're not allowed to. We don't have home grow rights. We don't have like anything in the state. But then you'll get. There was a guy selling hash, so I bought 2 grams. It was $15 a gram.
Damn. Did he say any information come with it? How old it is or anything?
He didn't know that much about it. He just had these giant slabs.
Oh wow!
And he was just hacking off sections. So it is more like still the black or gray market.
Huh. It's like a butcher with a slab of beef, man. How much you want? I'll weigh it out in front of you.
Yeah.
So I guess you didn't get a business card from him.
A bunch of people did have business cards, and they were giving you stuff like that. They had ounces for like $85 an ounce, and I was like, "That's cheaper than like when the dispensary has like their 40% off sale or whatever."
I wouldn't sell an ounce of my bud for $85. I can say that. It means too much to me versus $85. You know.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you know what? Going back to what you said a minute ago about the RSO, real quick. I'm sorry. $85 for an ounce. People that are using RSO are making it themselves. They're buying $85 ounces on the gray market and making it themselves versus buying the RSO directly. I would say probably.
Probably. You know what I would do? I would do like I would carry a couple of weights on me. You know, from the weights and measurements that you used to get with your triple beams and shit. You got to take a couple of those weights. And when someone wants to sell you an ounce on their scale, you throw your weight on there first and make sure it isn't tweaked. You got to get up pretty fucking early in the morning to get one of our old smart. I'm coming with my own weight scales, man. My shit's calibrated.
Take that shit to take the scale to a steakhouse, man.
Damn, you're right. That's another thing. You make sure you're getting my 16-ounce porterhouse on the button. That's a pre-cooked weight. Look at this shit. $40 for an ounce. Damn, that's like eighth prices here. You get $40 for an eighth of good buds here on the black market, on the outskirts of Pittsburgh. That's how, at least the people that I know. It might be cheaper now. I don't really fuck with anybody anymore.
We used to have $45 ounces, but it was popcorn bud and it was shit.
Here's a nice treat to the show. The American ones here. We got your Amy Aces poster up in the corner. One of my favorites.
I see it. You had it up for like the past 20 shows or whatever. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yo, so I learned quite a bit here in Pennsylvania. So check this out. You guys have heard of the THCA loophole, have you?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so
now just a recap, so I'm not mistaken. This is the loophole that they're using to put like gas station pens and shit in place, so they're not really the THC that's illegal or some shit.
They might be doing that, but let me tell you the story. So some kid that I acquaintance with at work, he smokes whatever, and I was talking to him, and he's like, yeah, after this shift, I go work at the hemp store. I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, you know, how's that? I'm like, it's all CBD, it's all hemp flower, right? He's like, yeah, but it has THCA. So what they've done, since THCA is not in the Farm Bill as being outlawed, okay, they found cultivars that have like 0.01% THC but have like 22% THCA. And you all know what happens when you decarb or burn the THCA, it turns straight into THC.
Yeah.
So the guys tell me, I haven't purchased any or tried any, but the store's open from 2. It's a real store, you know, it's a storefront. And yeah, I went to the website and that's exactly what it shows. So the guy telling me it's straight up like legit real deal.
How fucking stupid do we look as a state right now?
So, but that's why they're trying to eliminate that loophole.
The reason why it's the loophole is there is because when I think DEA or FDA or whoever it is has to make something like a compound illegal, they have to like say the very specific molecular structure of the whatever they're making illegal, and that's why all the designer drugs are like ecstasy but tweaked a little bit, and now it's some completely different molecule that's not illegal, but you're just doing that with the genetic, like the chemotype, right?
Yeah, I guess. Here, I'll find the website. I'll show it. I'll send it in. You guys can check out what the deal is. Yeah, I was like, I thought the loophole was since there's 0.01 or whatever allowed of THC, that they were just extracting the THC out of the regular hemp and collecting it all and saving it and making a pile of THC stuff to sell. But I was wrong. Yeah.
So then would we be like legal to grow THCA, like high THCA flower at our house versus, you know, like if you got busted or something?
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's another loophole.
I was wondering about that.
From what I'm hearing, I was watching a couple shows like the Adam Dunn stuff, and they said that once it burns, then it becomes THC. But until then, like all the plants now are just labeled as THCA, even like plants, anything you grow. And they're like, well, it's all technically under 0.03 of THC until it's flowered or something like that.
Right.
But
So they made the Delta 9 THC molecule, the one that's illegal. And so the THCA molecule is slightly different because it's the acid form. And so before it's decarbed, it's THCA. And then after it's decarbed, it's THC. And when you light it on fire, when you smoke it, like if you ate it raw, it wouldn't affect you the way that it does when you burn it because it's not decarbed until you burn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just said what you said. I'm pretty high.
What I remember, so my friend Rusty from Cocoa for Cannabis, cheers to Rusty, good friend of mine, taught me a whole lot of shit over the last few years. And anyhow, he told me that whenever they passed the Farm Bill in 2018, it legalized the growing of hemp. Now, hemp can be up to 0.3% THC or whatever. And so what they do is they grow the hemp, take the stalks or whatever for fiber, and everything else they put into a big, he said it's a big vat of he said it looks like black bubbly oil. I probably like RSO, but he said they just pretty much take a whole bunch of this leftover hemp shit, and they condense it down and condense it down and condense it down. And then that's what they put in the pens and shit that we were seeing on all the store shelves in states that were, and that's why we had a big influx of that. But he said it wasn't good stuff for you because the shit that they use to extract it isn't all that great.
I think that's a Delta 8 comes from the hemp, all the hemp byproduct shit.
Yeah, that shit was nasty, man. After I heard that story, I was like, I don't want to smoke no more of them pens. I don't think I ever did smoke. I smoked pens before, but I don't think it was that fake stuff. I think they were from California. I think it was like legit buds turned into however they make pens.
I guess be thinking like a poppy, growing poppy for like poppy seeds and stuff. what the legality is on that.
I think you can just grow them. I don't. If you're harvesting it for the
Culinary use.
yeah, for the seeds. So they have a thing now, like all poppy seeds have to be washed before they come into the country. At least from all like the major brands that sell bulk poppy seeds, because it's actually the milky substance that's inside the pod that gets extracted to be turned into opium, and the outside of the seeds, if they aren't washed, is coated with a thin layer of that stuff. So people can like extract it off of bulk poppy seeds. So now they have to wash them by law to import them. But you could just like grow some in a pot outside your house, and nobody would say anything about it. It's kind of fucked if you think about it.
Who's got cocoa bush seeds then?
I wish I could do that. I never chewed on them leaves, but they say it works.
You see all them people in the jungle making coke on them documentaries. They're all chewing. They got a big wad of it in their cheeks.
Mm-hmm. That's like flour, and cocaine is like dabs or BHO.
Yeah, and but I seen this airport bust. It was this crazy shit. It was KHAT. They called it cot or something like that. But it's some kind of a drug or something you take or chew or they distill or whatever. But I'm not even sure really what it was. But the airport people said this is illegal, or we're not letting it through, but we can't bust them for drug trafficking because it's not on the banned list yet. And they said they're working on, I think it was in like Auckland, New Zealand or some shit, but it was called KHAT. And I never heard of that before until I was watching that. The reason they busted them is because all their suitcases were dripping with moisture. They thought they had like meat or whatever crazy shit in there.
Yeah, man. Other countries have weird ass drugs. That I saw like a weird documentary on like drugs you never heard of, and like turns people into zombies and shit. But I just want to say quick that the second link I put in, you could see like the COA, and that's the trick that they're doing. They got, and I don't know if the labs are like saying it right, because I've never until I heard about this loophole. There's always some more Delta 9 than THCA. I mean, like in those ratios, it seems to me. Like I think the labs might be fudging the numbers so that they can sell the shit. Is what I'm saying.
Probably, but also, I mean, selective breeding and stuff has yielded the below 0.03 for CBD and hemp. That they have to have, otherwise their whole crop gets burned. So I don't know. I bet you could find some seeds for just THCA, like heavy plants, and then do like a hunt for it.
Yeah, the way they had it, they were the clones that people were getting from the like cannabis festival. They were definitely like normal clones. It wasn't like a special thing. It's just like everything now is THCA.
Right, they just call it THC. When it's on the plant before it's flowering, there's no THC really, or very super little. So they're probably safe if they get tested. You know what I mean? You could call them hemp even if they're not until they start flowering.
I think there's a big difference between like the shit that you can get at a gas station and buds versus like stuff that you're getting at a festival like that. I think that's obviously going to be more legit because it's small community stuff. But I think, were they rooted clones or were they unrooted clones?
They're rooted. They're pretty actually big. You got like almost like a foot plant.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was going to say unrooted clones are technically legal to sell and whatever because they have the less than 0.3% THC. But once they have roots, then technically it's cultivation. Hello.
Hello.
Did I kill the conversation?
No, I don't know.
I was reading through the chat.
Me too.
I think it's all like a workaround, and now everyone's making money with the THCA thing, and it's just still the same bud.
Here they're going to legalize in our state soon, guys. That's what I read, that they were going to try to maybe get it in on the next whatever. I don't have much hope, but I'm at least they're trying, I guess.
Well, now that Ohio did it, it's like
They're falling all around us. The only one that's
Yeah.
not West Virginia,
okay, West Virginia's not.
but I think like Jersey, Delaware, New York,
Yeah.
Ohio,
Oh,
every state that's touching us. Maryland,
So do you think they'll make it legal recreational, or do you think they'll loosen up the laws for medicinal? Like you can be a medical card holder and start growing just like we can here in my state.
They'll go recreational.
they're not doing
That's a big jump.
They're not doing a caregiver program here. You can only buy from one of 26, or there's only 26 distributors allowed to grow for the medicinal field or whatever they want to call it here. And those 26 grow places, they supply every medical cannabis dispo that we have. PA does suck, man. It's one of those things where I kind of love my state, but I hate the government that runs it. Some of the people that I'm thinking, it doesn't seem like they represent the majority, if you ask me. I think there's just a few greedy people in the right positions that hold a bunch of other people back.
Well, you can think about it too from the other perspective as a commercial grower. You don't want a home grower taking away business from you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they lobby against it. Like a lot of these big companies lobby against home grow. They go into the lawmakers' ear and say, look, you don't want all these people growing moldy buds and burning houses down because they don't know how to, they're overloaded with lights. They're dumping nutrients out into the streets, and it's just going to be horrible, man, if you let people grow. They're going to go ape shit. Why don't you give them recreational, but let us grow it and sell it to them at a really fair price? You regulate our grows, and due to most politicians' ignorance, or because they're getting paid, or a little of both, they say, yeah, that sounds very logical, and this is an unprecedented release of rights that we're giving back to the people, and there's really no blueprint for it. So they get scared and they go that route. So that's why I look for us to get beat for home grow in this state. I actually believe that they're going to legalize it, but not give us home grow. And it makes me sick to think of that.
Well, there's no telling with rescheduling it to Schedule 3 now, how that's going to impact the home grower as well.
Well, that's what they were saying in our state, that they was waiting to see how the government was going to either legalize totally or reschedule, and they wanted to go off of that or something. That was one of the arguments I saw from one of the lawmakers. Yeah, that's a good point, Sevens. That is a way. See, the problem with Pennsylvania, though, is if you get pulled over and they see a medical cannabis container or your medical cannabis card, they can immediately give you a DUI. Now, they're supposed to be changing that any day now or any month. There's no protections for that here. And it makes it tough. And you're actually putting yourself out on Front Street for a DUI just because you was going through your wallet looking for your photo ID to give to the cop, and he sees your medical marijuana card. All he has to do is say, come on, you were driving. We're going to get you a drug test. And in this state, if you deny that drug test at the hospital, they give you an automatic guilty charge to the worst degree possible. So either way, once they see that card in our state, if the cop wants to be a dick, you're fucked. There's just no way around it. these kind of things, people probably think out there thinking, no way, man, it can't be like that. You know, it is. That's exactly what it is. They're making thousands of dollars on selling us medical cannabis, making you re-up your card for $200 every year, all that crazy shit. And then as soon as you leave there, they're letting the cops give everyone DUIs as soon as they see your medical card or your container in the car. It's crazy. And you don't even have to be smoking right there. If the cop sees that, he says, we're going to the hospital. You give a blood test. It comes back with any percent of THC. You're automatically guilty for a DUI. But the government now sold you that, licensed the doctor to give you the card and everything else. But now they're going to tell you can't drive and you can't own a gun because you have to give up one right to get your agricultural freedoms at a fucking crumb snail. It gets me upset. Let me shut up. Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. It is bad here. But you know what? It could be worse, you know? It's why I don't show my face. It's why I don't have a lot of friends. It's why I live the life that I do, and I don't talk to a lot of people, and I stick to myself because I don't trust anybody not to tell me for growing if they find out. You know, today's friends are tomorrow's enemies, you know? You tell someone something in secret today because they're your best friend, and 3 years from now, you guys are, for whatever reason, that dude knows too much.
Or if that guy gets busted doing something, he can, you know, use that
to do his leverage. Yeah.
Fucking that was always my fear, letting anybody know if something happened where they were in, you know, got in trouble with the law, they could use that to get their sentence or whatever lightened. So that's what I was, because I would not be able to survive in jail. I don't know what I would do though, but
everybody adapts, man. People always say
I would have to, I guess. Yeah,
you would adapt, man. You would quickly adapt. It's a culture shock.
My habits, though, they don't have no coffee or cigarettes in there anymore, right?
You'll drink chicory.
But I heard hot cocoa. They do the hot cocoa, something with the hot cocoa.
You can buy instant coffee on a.
All right. Maybe I would be all right then.
Yeah, they actually have some pretty good stuff too. Taster's Choice was my favorite. Instant coffee. Yeah, it sucks. I hate complaining about PA because I do love this state. It's got a lot of beautiful places. I think a lot of the people that live here still have good morals and values in most of the state. And there's not a lot of the dumb shit that I see going on in most of the country in my my neck of the woods. And I kind of like that. But at the same time, like, how can 25 other states be legal and we're not shit? And it's always like, you know, of course I want it. Hey, Jason, what's going on in Oklahoma? That's fucked up, man. Are you serious? They're the Chinese people?
Yeah, that's been going on for a while now. They have these, they call them straw owners. So in Oklahoma, to be a commercial grower, you have to be a Oklahoma resident, I think, for 2 years or more, and you have to own, I think it's like 60% of the company. So they would come in and pay these people to get a license and put it under their name, or even that, they would just have like these hoop houses set up everywhere. I remember that grow I used to work out at. They had it on the news. They had like 30 something greenhouses out there, and this is a completely illegal grow. These the Chinese were bringing in all these illegal immigrants and forcing them to work on these grows. Well, they have, I don't know if it's triads or competition or what, but they went in there and like murdered the whole crew. It was like 8 people in this grow that got murdered. Yeah, there's a ton of illegal grows here going on.
Damn. That gives our industry, or that gives what we look at it, a bad name. That's a bad stain on a pure thing if it's done right. There's always somebody fucking shit up for us, ain't there?
Yeah, because like the amount of grows that we had here, it was crazy. Like we had more grows than California did, and our population's a fraction of what California is.
So how do you combat that? Legalize, flood the market, make it not worth those people's all the headaches and shit?
Man, I don't know, but I know they had the green rush going on when they first legalized it. Like you could get in the business and make a really nice profit. And a lot of people did. A lot of retirees or, people would, they would come and invest their life savings and start these grows. And, at first it was really good profit. And that's what happened to the grow I was working at. And then by the time, you get into the market, it's just the bottoms fell out. And all of a sudden, you might be able to get $2,000 a pound, but now you're only getting $1,100 a pound, and all these regulations and restrictions that they have, all the taxes going on. I mean, those profit margins are just falling out.
Law enforcement is so stupid. Do you guys know what camp was?
What is it?
Camp?
No.
It was a campaign against marijuana planting, I think it was what it stood for. It was in California. And that's like when they would go with all the helicopters, locate the grows, and then go and just take all the plants. But
Yeah,
all they had to do, I thought about this like 20 years ago, whatever it was. All they had to do was get one male plant, right? Go up in the helicopter, go to every garden, and just hit that thing, and all the crops would be all seed. That's all they would have to do. They would have fucked everybody.
Damn, dude.
Right, dude? That's the simplest, easiest thing.
I've had that thought.
But they didn't do that. Thank God.
Damn, that is wild. I've seen them where they fly around and do that shit on the TV. They were doing that a long time ago.
I actually acquired some of their materials. You know how I collect everything marijuana related? I have a post. I'll put it in the IG. I have an IG post of it. I'll put it in the thing. But yeah, they have pictures and everything, dude. They spent tons of money trying to eradicate the marijuana gardens, and obviously they failed.
Damn, we're down to 5 minutes already. Time goes quick. I'm just get caught up reading the chat and shit. Cheers to the chat for coming today. Well, thanks for everybody coming on, help me out. My wife sends her love, and she got caught up, couldn't be here, and it's always nice when people join and help me out. As far as I could never sit for 2 hours. I talk a lot, but I don't think I could do it for 2 hours straight. So I appreciate you guys coming on. Cheers to Art, man. He had to leave earlier to get his mini split installed. I know he's happier than a pig in shit. So that's cool.
Yep, we had some big shoes to fill with Crispy being gone today.
You did, man. You guys did well. Even when I went to take a piss and fill up my coffee, you guys held it down. I appreciate it. I still got a chunk of a joint here. I'm going to finish up while we do our sign-offs. I always worry about the helicopters flying low. Hey, I lost my pumpkin plant too, man. I wanted to tell you guys, I posted a picture with bugs under the leaves, and they said it was a squash bug. Someone told me when they bite it, they infect the plant. They wasn't lying because it started dying fast. And then when I went out the next day, I found them under 2/3 of the leaves. I found deposits of these little things everywhere. And I was like, damn. So I just chopped the whole plant. And I didn't know if they would like co-infect my peppers or anything else. So I chopped the whole plant and lifted up the compost. Were nice and warm under there, and I just fired them in and kind of like mounted it back down on top of them, hoping it would bake them and kill them. But I don't have any more pumpkins. It was a volunteer, but it's gone. The squash bug took me out. So if anybody sees red dots, little red like eggs underneath of your pumpkin and squash leaves, cut that leaf off and get rid of it. I didn't even know about it till the other day. IPM of the day. Anyhow, we'll go around the horn here. We can start with how about you, Collective Marijuana? First one on the list.
Cheers, Gromies. Just saying, hey, have a happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you, Smut and Crispy, for the show. Good to see you, Tao. Good to see you, C person. Everybody in chat. Love catching up with everybody every week. Party hardy.
Hey, you feeling that yet?
Yeah, a little bit. I've actually been. I bought the 100 milligram edible like gummies from the dispensary when they had like a 50% off sale, and I've been trying to increase my edible dosage lately because like a muffin's only like 5 or 10 because I make them not too powerful, maybe even 15 at most.
Right.
But I'll eat 2 or 3 muffins. So
Yeah, right on. All right. Well, nice to see you, Collective. Enjoy your time at camp, man. I'm a little bit envious of you. I got to say, I wish I was hanging out there with you.
Anytime you and Crispy want to come down, you can spend the night. We got extra beds.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I may take you up on that someday. That's my kind of vacation. Smoking down a bunch of buds with a creek going by, the woods are there, cooking on a fire, the whole 9 yards. We'll have to, maybe all of us Pennsylvania guys can meet up someday. That'll be fun. Up next, the American one's on the list.
Yo, Smart, you did awesome in Crispy's absence, but we did miss her. Tell her we say hello. I want to thank everyone who's hooked me up over the years. Collector Mary Jane, C Person One, Brent Anderson, Sacred Terra, Lone Star Love. A whole bunch of people have been reaching out to me. Thank you all. It's always good to be here. Good to see everyone in chat. I'm the American One, and all you guys know where to find me. And yeah, have a great weekend. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Tal. And I got to say, with the generosity that you showed the community, I think if anybody in the world deserves to be able to get some stuff in the mail whenever they fall in a time where their grow is slowed down for reasons that they can't really control, you're the perfect candidate for that, man. You've given out so many seeds. You know how many people, and there's a lot of us here that a lot of people that come on our show have, but a lot of people harvested medicine, man, because of your seeds, and a lot of it was free, given to them freely. And I like to see that some of that's coming back to you for sure.
Thank you. And yeah, I think everyone should have access to good seeds to grow. But yeah, I'm so happy that everyone's breeding now too. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, they're turning Stacy and all these other plants into new strains, huh? With your blessing.
Oh yeah, not only that, but they're doing it on their own. Like all the people in the chats and stuff, like Cooley, Seed Person, a whole bunch of people, and they're making them and passing them out to people. That's awesome. I love it. I love seeing that.
Right on, Kyle. Appreciate you stopping by. Up next would be Seed Person One, Cookie Man. Did you eat your cookie today, Seed Person? Like Collective?
Not yet. I will though.
It's early, huh?
A little bit, yeah. I'm Seed Person One on Instagram, or seedperson1@gmail.com. And thanks for having me. It's always great to see everyone panel and chat. And I will see everyone at Growing with My Fellow Growers later tonight at 7 o'clock on the Cheap Home Grow. Or maybe I have that backwards. But anyways, I'll see y'all there. Grower love to everybody. And yeah, see ya.
Right on, Seed Person. My wife's not here to post all the links that we usually post so people can get there and subscribe and set the reminders and shit. So I'll have to excuse us for that. And up last but not least is OK Jace with the big towers of buds.
And the fungus gnats having an orgy on my cocoa.
Oh man.
OK Jace 20 at Instagram. Thanks again, guys. Smart, Crispy. I know she's not here. Cheers to the panel here. Thanks, chat. Love coming on here. There's a wealth of knowledge. Thanks for helping out with everything. And we will be seeing you guys next time.
Right on, buddy. Appreciate everybody. I know there's some people that were watching on Instagram. Appreciate you watching too. Thanks to the chat. Cheers for me and Crispy, and we'll see you guys Wednesday night. Grower love.